Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Jakarta Tech Talk. My name is Serena, and joining us today is Otavio Santana, who will be presenting on the topic of Jakarta NoSQL, the simple way to succeed polyglot persistence. If you have any questions for Otavio as we move through today's presentation, feel free to ask it in the Ask a Questions tab or in the chat. Without any further delay, Otavio, it's over to you.
Okay. Thank you, Selena. It's amazing to see you
My
again.
pleasure.
And it's nice to know that you are from Portugal. So I'm glad
Yes.
to know that. And hello,
Perfect.
everyone. Please let me know where you're from. So tell us where you're from. For example, myself, I'm from Brazil. However, right now I'm living in Portugal in a small city called Leiria. Oh, it's a lovely place. It's nearby the beach. It was a nice weather time. So anyway, please let me know where you're from. It'd be nice to have a conversation. Before I share my screen, remember it's like a bar conversation. So if you have an idea, bring to us, bring some ideas. I'm glad to answer any kind of question and anything like that. But let's stop talk and let's do presentation. Again, I'm glad to be here. Let me hide this little guy here. Today, let's talk about the Jakarta NoSQL, the simple way to succeed polyglot past tense. My name is Otavio Santana, software engineer and architect. Right now, I'm working as distinguished engineer at Zoop Innovation. If you are not familiar with Zoop, Zoop is a Brazilian company who provides outsourcing and also several amazing products that include some open source ones. If you want to accelerate your experience in cloud, Zoop is a good place to know what you're doing. Uh, and besides work at Zoop, I love history, I love technology, and I'm not sure which one I love most, but that's why I usually say that I enjoy so much history that I decide to write technology history with technology. I decided to impact the whole community, the whole humanity with technology. That's why I helped several open source communities, open source products. I become executive member of Java since Java 8. Several committees and specifications like Jakarta NoSQL one. And based on that, I received several contributions and recognitions such as Java Champion, Oracle Ace, Duke Choice Award, DSP Awards. And yes, when I do have free time, I enjoy to write articles and books, especially about technology. Hello, Junior. How are you? First, the idea here is to show the newest points about Jakarta NoSQL. But first, if you are not familiar, oh, Jacqueline, glad that you enjoy. With Jakarta NoSQL, the first question is why? Why should I learn about Jakarta NoSQL? The idea is to make easier to you move between Java and NoSQL and switch between NoSQL database. Okay, we have a common annotations that I show to you later, and based on that annotation, we're gonna have multiple APIs. And let me show here using my mouse. So I have my data access object here on my repository. I put my entity here with several annotations, my mapping, uh, and then my communication. But each one will have one type. So one API to column, one API to document, one API to key value, one API to graph database. So each one has one uh, style, especially because the main goal is to avoid cognitive loads to change between those SQL database. However, I know, right? So there is several huge extensions in particular behavior that you like to use in NoSQL database. That's why, beside the standard API, the the code is built to make easier to create extensions. As I said, each API Each NoSQL has one API based on the type or NoSQL type. So column, document, key value, and graph, where the exception will be the graph with Tinkerpop. So column is new, document is new, key value is new, and graph is from Apache Tinkerpop, who is the standard to graph database. I'll show later more details. And oh, come on, no joke today. I just have 30 minutes. Sorry, Max. I just know one here in my mind. Do you know why vampires are bad product manager? Why vampires are bad product managers? That's easy, right? They hate stakeholders. Oh, that's terrible. But anyway, let's return to my presentation. The main motivation here is we have several NoSQL database. The sample here, we are using document where I have a RunDB, MongoDB, Couchbase, or OrientDB. Those NoSQL database are documents. And as you can see here, everybody has different class, different qualifier name, different everything. But the objective is the same. So as you can see here, I have name value to RunDB, to MongoDB, name value to Couchbase, name value to OrientDB. So the idea is to simplify the transition between a NoSQL database and a standards to try to standardize the common behavior around the NoSQL database. So instead of I need to learn a new API, I can do exactly something from OrientDB, RunDB, MongoDB, and Couchbase. This way, with a single API, I'm able to do what I want instead of need to learn. And especially if I decide to switch between NoSQL database, I can do it more easily than change everything. I talk too much, so let's do some demo presentation right now. What I do have here, I have my .xml, basically to avoid anything outside the code, NoSQL, Jakarta NoSQL. I'm gonna use just a Java SE application with CDI. Okay. Jakarta NoSQL requires CDI and JSON binding from Jakarta specification. And for now, Eclipse microprofile configuration. Why? Because right now, the Jakarta configuration is going. The idea is once the Jakarta configuration is ready, we're able to switch between these specifications. So instead of use Eclipse microprofile configuration, we are able to use Jakarta configuration. If you remember the big picture about the dependence on Jakarta NoSQL, you might remember that we have a mapper to document where it has these annotations, and a communication where I have the low level communication. If I do analogy between Jakarta NoSQL and JPA, you might think about mapping to JPA and the communication to JDBC. Okay, so two layers, two levels, one closer to the code, one to the business and the DD, another one closer to the database itself. The first step here is to create my entity, like I usually do with any kind of business. Instead of use God, I'm gonna use worker. So I have my worker here. This worker will have my ID. Okay, I put an ID here. A name, so a name. I will put a type of worker, type work, type, where this type will be an NN. So I will work home office or on site. So office. Let's define this way. So office is on site. And what else? The age. And I mean, instead of age, let's use daily hours. So integer daily hours. So how much time do you work every single day? Right now, what do I have? I have my entity. So what can I do? So I will create my constructor here to make it easier to create. I will use a builder partner. So let's use builder here. I will create a worker builder and then fix and then refactor and then add. This time, one thing that I don't like is create worker. Also, it's a work builder. It should create a worker. So I will put the build here, and that is it, right? So I have my app. I will create my public static void event where I will create my first worker. So worker here, my, I don't know, Polyana maybe, where I have my worker builder. Oops, let's create this method here. I will create the worker builder. This way, so I have my builder with, I forget to put the age, so let's put age here. Age. So let's move it quickly to age here. And I will do this small fix in my builder. Basically, what I'm doing is to create my age, and then finally put my age here. So I have my builder, age 30 years old, name Poliana, daily hours 30, and okay, I should put the city, but anyway, let's forget. So I have my worker here, and let's create another one, Otavio, and done. So I have two entities. And right now, I need to do the next step, right? That is paste this information inside my database. On this case, I just said to you, I have the mapping, the communication. I'm using the map document, and my driver is MongoDB. So I will use MongoDB to make it simple for you, where I will decrease my number of database here to only MongoDB. Let's reduce the number of instances that will start. MongoDB, my application, and then I need to use the annotation to teach to Jakarta NoSQL each entity will be, each one will be the ID, each one will be the column, and so on. So in this case, define an entity. I will use entity annotation to define ID. I have my ID. To define the name, I use column, 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 column. It requires it's static or a default constructor. So let's keep it. And that is it, right? So I will also put a toString here. And if you wish, equals the hash code. And scale will be based on the ID. Just simple, remember that. We are simplify a lot. Uh, our life because it's a small sample. Right now, I have my worker, I have my entities, and I need to create my communication integration. If you remember what I have my configuration to of database. Right now, it's working thanks to Eclipse microprofile. Okay, this integration you might receive based on this configuration. Once I have this configuration, I need to teach to Jakarta NoSQL that we have a document collection manager. The document collection manager is a connection to a document NoSQL database. I'm injecting using, as you can see here, Eclipse microprofile configuration, and then make it available to use and also destroying the connection. Okay. So I have my app application, I have my worker with the entities, and let's move to the next step, that is start my database instance, where I will start here. I'm using Docker Compose. There's nothing new here. And then I will create my CDI container. Okay, so I have my CI container here, container initializer, initialize. So, okay. Right now I have my entities. Yes, Chris, it will be available on YouTube. So Chris asked about uh, on YouTube. Yes, it will be on YouTube on Jakarta EE channel. I don't have the link right now, but I will share later. I have my SE container, and I need to create an object to hold and to mapping between my Java entities and my NoSQL database. On Jakarta NoSQL, we have the template classes. It's a mapping low-level class to translate to or from entities in Java objects. So each API has one unique names or specialization. Therefore, with document, we have document template, with graph template, with column template, and with key value template. So each one has your own template. Once I'm working with documents, I will use document template, and I will inject the container here, select document template, and then I will get this. And my next step is define an ID just to make it easier to us. And also I have the template. My next step will be the insert, to insert both. So Otavio and Poliana. I will insert first Poliana, and then Otavio. And yes, if you want to be able to use a list to insert both at some time, so a list of Poliana, and Otavio, whatever you want. Okay. Once I have my information inserted, the next step, you be retrieve that information. So template, find my worker, and then the ID. So this time I will find for Poliana, the worker here. As you can see, this API was built in, it has port to Java 8 or higher. Therefore, you're able to use optional to define if the information is there or not. instead of check the null pointer or receive a null pointer directly, you're able to do this kind of thing. So you're gonna find the first worker is, okay, worker. Then we're gonna delete. So worker. And for sure, when I try to find again, first is the information here. It might not find anything, right? So hopefully it will work. So let me run. Again, what did I do? I created my entity. I put the annotation there, okay? Then I inserted information in my database. Then I find by ID, where I put in the log. As you can see here, the first worker is this kind of thing, worker. And then I delete it. And when I check it again, the information is not there. As you can see, I forgot to put the type and the age. So what I'm able to do, I will delete this one here and this one here again. I will put the type, office, home. I don't want to be the office. Oops. Office is done. So I put the age, office. Wait, the age is here, right? So what's going on? So hopefully everything will be okay right now. Oh, I forget to feed the age here. So age equals age. So right now I will delete and then show again. So I find with 30 hours daily, it's a little bit over, I guess. I guess but I need to work a little bit less daily. And when I try to find again, as you can see here, there is nothing there. So basically what I did was a small overview about the API. Let's move to the next step. Yes, either show, if you wish, you're able to do a query by texts or using prepare statement or using repository. But before say that, let's do a query by Fluent API and then show the new features that is on Jakarta NoSQL 1 beta 4. Okay. Is there any question? Let me check here. Oh yeah, ask questions. Hello everybody. So let's put here that I answer that question. Thank you, Hobson, to be here. Right now, I will do, I already insert both, right? So I don't need to put again. And what I'm gonna do, yes, just to show you're able to use update as well when you wish to do it. But let's do a query. So let's create a document query here. The first step, document query with select, if you wish, from worker. And based on that, what you can do is define a condition. So where name, and the build of Fluent API, it's going to show to you the options that you have to that condition. So on this case, equals Polyana. And then you're able to see the option. So and or limit, skip, or divide, whatever. On this case, I will do just a build here to create my query. And then do my select query and then return the information result. worker here, and then do the alien. The query result is something. Let's execute. What they do here, I just select from worker where name is Poliana. And let's check if I do something wrong here. First, let me remove the condition and see what's going on there. And as you can see, there is only Otavio. Probably I forget to insert Poliana again. So let's insert Poliana again. And then return the query. So let me return the query and then do the template, insert Poliana, and then execute the query again. So I have my Poliana information. About the new stuff that we have here right now in Jakarta NoSQL, the latest version is, imagine a scenario where you want to put more complexity in the query. Remember, we are not talking about relational database here. We are talking about NoSQL database. I mean, even the complex query has a limitation when you talk about the standardization. Okay, just to remember that point. And imagine right now, because you want to combine with more complexity, you want to, for example, I want to find person who works over the hour of the time and uh, like older than 30 years or something like that. I mean, you want to combine conditions. And with Jakarta NoSQL, you're able to do it if you wish, right? So, or age equals 30, for example, or less than or less than equal 30. But if you want to, you are able to create conditions. So, for example, let me think. Document conditions. I want a person who worked in the office over 10 hours. So office overtime. So what I'm gonna do, I will put my document condition here and right, and then I will put two conditions here. So I want people who works in the office, right? Type work office, and document conditions greater than 7 hours. So right now I have my, oops, I forgot to put the daily hours. And on the other hand, I want people, okay, let me see, or the name over time. And also I do have, let me think here, over 30 years of time. So almost or Otavio. So what I'm gonna do, I will do almost something, but yes. The age will be 30, so greater equals 10, and name equals Otavio. So right now, I have those conditions, right? So I have more complexity in these conditions. And what I can do, can do instead of build using Fluent API, if I wish, I able to use the builder partner. So select, let me see, let me think here. Have the worker. So I'm able to use the builder. So builder, the documents, the conditions, the condition here. So I want to put both over time and over Otavio or combine with any kind of thing like this to finally build. Okay. The whole idea here is, okay, I need to put the or so I have my condition. So I want somebody overtime in the office or Otavio. So I want to create more and more queries around this kind of situation and then do the result. Okay, I will execute. The whole point is okay. Oh yes, I forget the collection name. So from worker, sorry for that. Let's execute. Is there one question? Yes, there is a question. Can we use one code base to connect to different types of NoSQL database? Yes, you are able to. As I showed to you, I'm combining and then return Otavio. As you can see here, in my code, I just have imports from Jakarta NoSQL. Here, I only have configuration that belongs to CI or Jakarta NoSQL. And inside my configurations, I have my definition of driver. And that is it. I don't have anything else than that. Okay. So to answer your question, yeah. If you wish, you are able to return to update here. So instead of MongoDB, you're gonna need to replace to another document type, like Couchbase, AroundDB, and so on. And the magic is there. One thing that will be different is if I want to change to Cassandra. Why? Basically because Cassandra is not a document database, it's a column family database. So what I need to do is, besides change the driver, I need to change this dependence here. Instead of document, be a column. And finally, my API. So instead of document template, you be the column template and so on. So each one type has a different API, especially because each one has a different behavior on that perspective. Okay? Does that answer your question? Let me check if there's another different question. Yes, you can do it through NoSQL database. So you're able to change easily. And another good point here, if you are not familiar with Eclipse Micro Profile, if you want to change that in production, it's okay. For sure, it's not a good practice to put here the configuration of production, like password, user in the code base. What you can do, you are able to overwrite or even put more details about these connections on production. if doubt I or any engineer know about these deep details. For example, here, locally, I don't need user and password. However, in production, it makes sense. So what can I do? I can overwrite and also put more details around the documents database, on this case, with MongoDB. Uh, is there any question? Please let me know if there's any question. I'm glad to answer. If you want to know more details, uh, have the article here. Andre, oh, okay, let me try to put your name, your surname here. Krepski, hopefully say name correctly. How difficult is to create a dialect? What do you mean about dialect? You mean a driver? A driver is pretty easier. Oh, okay, thank you. Because it's a light translator API. If you see my picture here, if you remember, let me show again. Basically, what I do is to create an API, a Thai API, and then translate to MongoDB and return to the API itself. That's why when you go to dependencies from maybe here, oh, not you, dependencies, you can see the MongoDB driver where it has the MongoDB driver itself, right? Oh, Jesse, how are you? I'm glad to see you here. He said, create a driver isn't too bad once you get the hang of its use of CDI. Starting from existing driver and replacing the dependency specific helps a ton. Yes, it's a good advice. The idea is to be a Thai API, especially because it doesn't make sense to a provider like MongoDB has two drivers. So instead of that, and also it's not good design code to reinvent the wheel every single time. Basically, it's a tight API to do this communication. Why? Because this communication allows us to connect to CDI, connect to a lot of details like that. Okay. How databases are supported? That's a good question. Right now, we have people like Jesse who works closer to Domino's database and he's able to support. We receive support from Red Hat with Infinite Span, where they built the style API. We have support from the community itself. And remember, it's just a Thai API, so it's not like a huge kind of thing. For example, if I do insert twice, I will receive a driver exception. Okay, so again, we receive feedbacks and support from the company itself, the community itself. It includes me and the committee, and it's really easy, especially because it's a Thai API. So let me do my experiment here. So I have a template here where I will insert twice Otavio. Let me execute. And as you can see, I got an exception from the Mon collection implementation. So why? Because it has a duplicated key value collection. The idea is not to create a layer or a fancy layer on the NoSQL database, especially to avoid the cap theorem, and also try to avoid any kind of emulations that it doesn't make sense to use with NoSQL database. So we are an abstraction, but the idea is to developer know what's going on behind the API. Okay, hopefully it answers your question. So just to recap, what did I do here? We created an application, a plain Java standard application where I use Maven with two dependencies from Jakarta NoSQL, CDI and JSON binding. And to define a configuration, we are using Eclipse microprofile for a while until we don't have a new feature that will come soon, that is Jakarta configuration. On Jakarta configuration side, dependent side, we have the mapping thing about JPA and the communication thing about JDBC, where each type has one API. So one API to document, one API to column, one API to graph, one API to key value. But we have the core annotation where everybody's able to use. So it doesn't matter if you're gonna use document, column, graph, or key value. The annotation like nt, id, column will be the same. The difference will be the communication, especially if you do with the templates class, the template interface. So once you do that, you need to have the template to document, template to column, template to key value, template to graph. However, you might be familiar with repository, right? So if you decide to use repository here, so worker repository, it's pretty similar. If you know Spring, Spring brings us several insights, and it brings us, especially to me, a huge inspiration about to do the right things on Jakarta on NoSQL with Java. You are able to do a similar thing. So working repository where it will receive two parameters. One is the empty, another one is my ID type. So based on that, you are able to come here, inject the worker, repository, the container, and then select the worker repository here. You are able to, let's remove this kind of thing here. You are able to save. It will hand to you the logic to check if they need to insert or update. Okay. So list of Otavio and Poliana here. And if you wish, you are able to create some, how can I say that? Some queries by method query name. Using the convention, you're able to do, for example, I want to return worker here, where I do a find by. Oh, that's easy. So as you can see, I have the autocomplete find by. I'm gonna use the name one. By the way, this week I share about the plugin to Jakarta NoSQL that IntelliJ did to us, so that's nice. Find by name, no end case, string name, and that is it. So I did the find by name, and I'm able to do my repository, find by name, and I will find by, then we return Pollyannas. How many Pollyannas do I have here? And then Pollyanna's results, okay? It's our review. As you can see, I saved and then do a query by first name, and you might be familiar with query here. So if you wish as well, we're able to do the query select star from worker where name equals name, and if you wish, you're able to put the param name, and then follow this ideas to create queries this way. We have both styles to use and explore. I have more news to this newest version of Jakarta NoSQL, but before, is there any more questions about the API and the overview? If you can use OO code base to manipulate different type of NoSQL database. Jokes in Portuguese. Oh no, Jefferson. I will skip this. Graph database, column database, document database as well, relational database. That is great for developers. Yes, indeed, it's a new as well that we will explain right now. Let me check if there's more questions. Give once, give twice. If not, you are reading my mind, or the Jakarta NoSQL's mind, or the Jakarta EE minds, and maybe there's a good opportunity to talk more about it. So I showed the demo, and the idea is to integrate even more NoSQL and SQL with a new specification that is Jakarta Data. Okay, it has been improved from the committee. That is to be more data agnostic, and it's an open proposal, so we're able to check what's going on there. So give your thoughts and join us on the main list soon to talk about your thoughts, what you think, the ideas, and something like that. Okay, so join us on this. It's not the first Jakarta EE spec, sorry for that, but the idea is the first specification to join the bestest layer as one. So we're gonna receive several inspirations like Quarkus Data, Spring Data, of course, to create several ideas to put everybody together. For example, I have my business layer, and I'm able to use repository. This way, it doesn't matter where the data comes from. So where this information comes from is from the SQL with the API. I don't care. It comes from NoSQL with Jakarta NoSQL, or how about web service with Eclipse microservice? I don't care. The point is, once I have my repo, my working repository, I will be able to connect a SQL or NoSQL or web service to achieve this result. Okay. And repository from DD is only a beginning of this idea to create a specification more data agnostic, to put several partners in one single place, because we're able to create tools and API to work with CQRS, Common Query. I forget the R, sorry. But anyway, hopefully anybody closer to Google tell me the what does mean CQRS that I forget right now. Event-driven design, right? It's about data. And lastly, with data transfer object. Sometimes you need to handle with that, but how about to improve that relationship and don't do it manually? Us, those, it doesn't matter which one, need to handle with this kind of thing, right? So it doesn't matter if a SQL, if it doesn't matter if NoSQL or a web service, I need to handle with CQRS eventually, event-driven design or DTO. One question, is Jakarta Data repository already released? No yet. However, you are able to use that with Jakarta NoSQL. In a couple weeks, we're gonna create a specification to work with more flavors like SQL and web service. Okay. That's the whole design. So Jakarta NoSQL, JPA, Eclipse micro profile, REST client, or something like that. And oh, thank you, Gerald. Common inquiry responsibility segregation. Yes, CQRS. And that is it for today. Please let me know if there is more questions around it. If not, hopefully have a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and join us in the mail list. Here my tweet, Otavio Java. I have YouTube channel, Twitter, LinkedIn with the same nickname. So that is it. No questions? Thank you, everybody, and see you soon.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Otavio, for that awesome presentation. So I just wanted to before we wrap up at the finale, we are also looking to book more Jakarta Tech Talks through 2022. So if you're interested in presenting, feel free to fill out the form, of which I will link in the chat. Also, let me just make sure here. Yes, if you have any feedback from the Tech Talk program, we would love to hear from you as well. So just click on the green button that will pop up when we end the chat. And we hope that you enjoyed your presentation. And thank you so much again for today's presentation, Otavio. You did amazing. And thank you for everybody that came on and participated. Greatly appreciated. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Okay, okay. Bye.
Bye.